I'm testing the #1 players deck list from the Duelist Cup. Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode, and on today's episode we're talking about Dragon Link, or more specifically Ryan Yu's list from the most recent Duelist Cup. Now this is the list that he said he played mostly. He did play a bit of Zodiac, or more specifically like going second, or just like hand trap heavy Zodiac, as well as at the end he said he played a bit of Labyrinth, but he said most of the time he was playing this. Now I don't know if this is the list that he played the entire time. If he changed it, he probably did, let's be honest, because just about every player does, but this is the list that ultimately he ended up submitting and talking about. So let's quickly do the card by card and the analysis. First of all, it's 40 cards. Fantastic. I love 40 card lists, and I think there's only one deck in history that has really done 60 cards efficiently, and that's Branded. And that's mostly because of Grass, but it's also because Branded has so many cards that basically get them to Branded Fusion that it really can kind of afford to play 60 cards. Dragon Link can also play 60, but I do think it's better to play 40. So let's quickly do the card by card. Starting off with something that I think is quite interesting. 1 Wyver Burster, 1 Collapse Serpent. Now, I personally am not a fan of this because basically the only reason that this would be very useful, or more specifically, the only thing that actually makes this good is Chaos Space. Being able to go Chaos Space, pitch a thing, and then grab either the Wyver Burster or the Collapse Serpent, whichever one is the opposite, is pretty nice, because then you can shuffle back the one that you banish off of the other one, right? So if you grab the Wyver Burster, you can banish it for the Collapse Serpent, and then shuffle it back with the Chaos Space. Now that's the general idea, and that's most of the time what you want to do, but when that doesn't happen, it means you're missing a card, which does happen to hurt you oftentimes, because you need a discard fodder for Dragon Ravine. So normally that means that you're pitching like a hand trap or something along those lines. Sometimes you draw Driver and it's fine, but sometimes you don't. So there's that. Not really that big of a deal, but it is interesting because most players will play two copies at most of at least one of them, mostly Wyver Burster. Then we're playing, this is where, again, it gets kind of interesting, 3 Tracer, 1 apiece of Recharger and Caliber. Now, Recharger and Caliber have basically been the 2 targets for Tracer since the release of Dispotter, making it easier to go for the level 10. However, Tracer in particular oftentimes sees play at 2. Even in 60 card lists, you oftentimes play 2. But playing 3 here was actually very nice. It just means that more often you're able to actually see the rockets in particular, which happen to be very nice. They're very good normal summons, especially Tracer. So, there's that. Then, of course, we're playing Triple Safer. It's the best card in the deck, let's be honest. Being able to recur level 8s while also being able to search out things like the Wyver Burster and Collapse Serpent, while also being able to dodge things like Imperm, is fantastic. On top of that, it's just one of the better normal summons. Then we are maxing out on the good Bestials, the 1 Magnamut, triple Saronir, and 1 Druoserm. Why would we play Baldrake? Don't know. So we're not playing it. Yeah, Baldrake's just bad. That's my thoughts. Anyway, yeah, pretty self-explanatory there. And then, of course, triple Lubellion as well. And then the last 2 cards, or the last 2 monsters, are 1 Absolouter Dragon as a target to send to the graveyard, as well as 1 Levianeer. And Levianeer is crazy. Next up, we have quite an interesting lineup of spells. First of all, 1 Triple Tactics Talents. Yeah, sure, why not? I honestly, Triple Tech is fantastic, so why not play it, you know? Then, of course, we have the 2 Chaos Space, because it's limited to 2. We have 1 Dragon Ravine and 1 Boot Sector Launch as search targets, and then 1 Regained. We're not playing Beast. Why? Well, because honestly, in a 40-card list, you don't really need Beast. Beast is oftentimes not really as useful, because you're not really sending Regained to the graveyard as often. The only way to really send it to the graveyard is off of Chaos Ruler, or if it gets destroyed, right? So it's not really all that useful, and Beast by itself is not nearly as useful as Regained. And also, because Regained can bring back the Dispotter, which is nice. So instead of playing like a triple tech here, Regained just makes sense. It also gives you a target for the Lubellion. Then, of course, we're playing the 2 Quick Launch, the 2 Called By, and 1 Crossout. Now, notably, we're not playing other Crossout targets, and I think that's totally fine. Realistically, the Triple Tack is kind of in here as a Crossout target, but yeah, it's much more important to hit like Triple Tack than it is to hit like Imperm. So, there's that. Moving on, we have ourselves a pretty standard Dragon Link extra deck. I think this is like what most people are playing, so it's not really too interesting. 1 Borreload Savage, 1 Chaos Ruler, 1 Baron Deflor, and 1 Bestial Dispotter for all of our synchros. As for the rest of our monsters, we have the 1 Pisty, 2 Striker Dragon, 1 Hieratic Seal, 1 Romulus, the IP Masquerena and Unicorn, as well as the Dark Triple Burst, Access Code, and Boral End. And that's it for the list. Let's hop into the duels and show you how this deck performed. Alright, here we are going first, and this is kind of going to show you the downsides of playing a 40-card list. Now, I did draw 3 hand traps going first. Now, granted, my opponent allowed me to go first, so that's interesting. Battle phase, sure. They're going to activate the Runic Smiting Storm to special summon a Runic monster. I'm like, sure, I'll get my, basically, Upstart Goblin, because they're not going to summon anything else. Out comes Fenki. They're going to activate the effect of the Frankie here, and I'm going to Gamma, and then they're going to activate Slumber. Yeah, I just didn't want my cards banished. Turns out they were going to get banished anyway. And of course, they hit 2 really good ones. They hit Absolouter. I need that. And you'll see it comes up later. And Chaos Space, which is frustrating, but okay. Out comes Gamma, out comes Driver. They're just going to pass. Yep. They literally don't even do anything else. They just passed. Okay, I draw Safer, which is actually super good. So I'm going to go Safer. I'm going to pitch the Tracer here, and we're going to grab the Wyver Burster. We're going to banish the Safer, or the Tracer to go into Striker Dragon. We're then going to go for the Wyver Burster effects, grab up the Collapse Serpent. We're going to go for the Collapse Serpent here. Link those 2 off into the Romulus. Here we can activate the Romulus and grab up the Ravine, which is pretty good because we now have the Ravine to pitch Levianeer, as well as we have to send Saronir because we don't have Absolouter. Anyway, it's fine. We now get to send Lubellion, and then we're going to link off into a Pisty. So this is pretty interesting here. We now get to go and bring back with the Safer Defect, or grab it back with the Safer Defect, the Bistio Lubellion. We're going to go for the Bistio Lubellion. We're going to activate the effect. We're going to grab up the Magnemite. And I do make a bit of a mistake here. We go for the Magnemite, banishing the Saronir, and then I don't immediately go for the Bistio Lubellion here, and I actually link off these 2 into Triple Burst. I should have, again, this is a very simple mistake, and you'll see I'm punished for it. So yeah, we go for this, I'm like, it's fine, it's not really that big of a deal. Bring back the Rocket Tracer, go into the Hieratic Seal, and then we can go for the Rocket Tracer here to pop the other guy in order to go for the Rocket Recharger to allow us into the Chaos Ruler. Chaos Ruler is now going to reveal 5 cards, and Saronir is not bad, but that's the problem. Just, yeah, regained. We also hit 2 Lubellions as well, which is kind of funny. But yeah, regained is the problem. I only have the 1 target. It really sucks hitting the Lubellion, or the regained here, especially knowing that I could have had that in rotation earlier. So, just a big mistake on my part. Anyway, we're going to go Saronir. We're going to banish the Lubellion, and then add back another Lubellion. I don't know why I do this. I just choose to do it for no real reason. Anyway, they're going to banish 2 more. They're not really that important, but I am on 15 cards, so there's that. Keep that in mind. They're going to grab up the Smiting Storm as well, and we're going to go to battle. We're going to deal another 25, and evenly matched. Okay, I decided to keep the Hieratic Seal here, which may seem a little strange, but honestly, Hieratic Seal does deal with the Fountain, so I was like, okay, cool. I have at least an out to Fountain. It also deals with, like, Floodgates and stuff like that, so that's pretty nice. That's why I kept it, mostly. Anyway, we grab the Safer off of the Magnemite. Out comes Smiting Storm. They're going to special summon a Runic monster. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Activate the effect. They're going to pitch Night Beam. We're pitching Night Beam? Why are we playing Night Beam? Also, why are we playing Evenly Matched in a deck that requires us to skip battle phases? Like, huh? Anyway, whatever. We're going to Ash the Hugin here because Fountain is at 1. They're going to activate the Tip. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, anyway, grab the Runic Fountain. And again, because I already have the seals, I'm feeling okay. Not really that big of a deal. They're going to go for the Fountain here. Then they're going to activate 1 Day of Peace. Everybody draws a card. Sure. And then Card Destruction. Bro, they're actually planning on decking me out. I now have 9 cards in my deck, and Chaos Space doesn't have a target. They're going to go to the end phase, and I'm going to go for the Hieratic Seal here to bounce the field spell so that they can't go for a... what is it? A quick play during my turn, which is pretty nice. We're also going to go for the Druid Swarm here because I have to summon from the deck. We're going to draw down to 7. Oof. We're going to go for the Safer here. We're going to activate its effect to grab up the Levianeer. And, yeah, Levianeer is going to special summon itself and shuffle away the cards. Now, notably, keep in mind, 1 Day of Peace. No player takes damage. Keep that in mind. Remember that. especially when you see the plays that I make. So here I go for Baron. I decided to go for Baron instead of Dispotter here because I think Baron having that extra negate is way more important. However, we can still go for the Chaos Space. We're going to activate the Chaos Space by popping with Baron. This is another reason why I went Baron, because being able to shuffle away a card to grab another card is pretty nice, but then it just makes quick launch, which is also very strong. Anyway, we're going to banish a card in order to go for the Dispotter here. So now we have the Dispotter, we have the Baron, and yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. And we have Ash as well, so even if they do have the Fountain still, we still have the ability to Ash whatever they end up trying to search. I go for the Masquerena as well to potentially dodge a targeted effect, which could matter. So that's more so why IP Masquerena is here. They're going to activate the Fountain and just pass the turn. Yep. All right, cool. Baron basically did what it needed to do, and we draw Called By, which is kind of funny, but not really that big of a deal. We're going to pop here, and yeah, we're going to go for the Dispotter, and I'm going to style on them a little. I'm going to summon Seals in attack position because I can. Also, however, Seals is actually here for a reason. This makes Borderland. This makes Borderland. I could normal summon Ash, and we could make Borderland and, you know, stuff like that. Or I could just, like, link off my, my Dispotter in order to go into Borderland as well, which is, again, pretty nice. But there you go. They certainly do be given free Ws. Alright, now, here we are going second, and, well, sometimes you have a hand that does stuff, and sometimes you draw 2 Sarniers. But it's fine, because my opponent is on Labyrinth Wall, or Alistair the Invoker? I grab Invocation, sure, and pass. Sometimes you are just better than your opponent. Now, this is fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. We draw Boot Sector Launch, because of course we do! See, this is one of the downsides of playing a 40-card list. It's not that big of a deal, though. We're going to grab the Magma here. I'm going to activate the Field Spell. We're going to activate the Field Spell again, and then special summon out our 2 Tracer and Recharger. Then we're going to banish with the Sarnier in order to go into Baron. They have a set card. I'm scared of the set card. Cool. Out comes the Bestial Lubellion. We're going to also banish our guy in order to go into the Magnemite. We're going to then activate the Baron, to the which they will activate Lost Wind, not targeting Baron, targeting Magnemite. Okay! That's certainly interesting. Anyway, at this point, we're going to go for the Lubellion, grab up the Regained. We're going to link off into the Striker Dragon here, and then back comes the Lost Wind. Okay. Anyway, Striker Dragon effect hadn't been utilized, so we now get to go for the Recharger, targeting in order to go back into the Tracer, and then Tracer can go for, sorry, that was a bit quick. Tracer goes for the Rocket Caliber, which is why we're playing the Rocket Caliber, and then we get to, oh, that's what I did. I Tribute Summoned Sarnier. Kind of weird, but I still had my normal, and I was like, I need another 10. Out comes Dispotter. Dispotter's going to bring back your boy, the Sarnier, and this is exactly lethal. 9,000 damage, by the way. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Alright. Here we are, once again, going second. However, we have Gamma this time. Fantastic. My opponent is going to go for the Ogre here. They're going to grab up the Xiaomin. I'm like, that's totally fine. They're going to normal summon the Xiaomin. They're going to activate the effect. They're going to go for the Deer Note. And I'm like, cool, Deer Note. That's understandable. Activate the Deer Note. And I go, wait a second. Why are we activating Deer Note? Why do we search Deer Note instead of searching... Oh, because we think I have Ash. No, it's far worse. It's Gamma. So I'm going to Gamma the Deer Note. This may seem weird, but the thing is, if I don't Gamma here, there isn't really like a good option to Gamma. They're going to be able to go for either the Chaos Ruler or the other level 8. So this just is the best option. Also, they could potentially summon the Madam Spider, which could then get them the Field Spell, which gets them a lot more advantage. I feel like this is just the best time to do this. I could potentially hit a different card. Like, for example, they could have a Foxy Tune still in hand, which could cause issues as well. But I just feel like this is the best option for me in terms of Gamma. So, yeah, we hit the Deer Note. It dies. They don't get the special summon. They're going to go for the triple attack. They're going to draw 2. Well, now they most certainly have something, right? So, I lied. It was perfect. We draw Chaos Space, which is fantastic here. So we're going to go for the Chaos Space. We're going to pitch a card. They're going to go for the Maxi here, and I'm going to immediately Called By that. And we're going to say, no, no, not allowed. Okay, cool. I figured one of their cards in the hand was a hand trap, and it was Maxi. We just happened to have the out to that. I'm imagining both of these are activatable at some point. Imperms, called bys, crossouts, something like that. If it was a crossout, they definitely would have crossed out the called by. So there's that. Anyway, we grab the Wyvern Burster into Striker Dragon. We're gonna go Chain Link 1 Wyvern Burster, Chain Link 2 Striker Dragon, to the which my opponent will go called by Imperm. Hold on, called by on the Wyvern Burster. That's good. So far, this is how this should play out. And here's the mistake. Don't infip. Do not activate the Imperm on the Striker Dragon, especially if they still have a normal summon. Yeah, just don't. It's not worth it. Striker Dragon is one of the most easily skipped card. That's why it's Chain Link 2. I'd much rather have the Collapse Serpent here. So called by, fantastic. Imperm, not so much. Normally you want to hold the Imperms or Effect Veilers or what have you for Romulus. That's the big thing. Anyway, we draw Ash Blossom, which is kind of funny off of that Chaos space. So we're going to go for the Magma here. We're going to then normal summon it in order to go into our Romulus, and here's where they should have Impermed. Imperming here would have been fantastic. Anyway, we're going to grab the Ravine. We're going to activate the Ravine. Also, second thing. Ash the Ravine. That's just a small thing. This is the Ash target. Unless there's like something else that you may think you want to Ash. Don't hit Lubellion. Don't hit Striker Dragon. You could hit Romulus. I'm not a big fan of that. But this discards for cost, which does matter and is very impactful. So yeah, definitely Ash the Dragon Ravine. Anyway, we're going to banish. We're going to go for the Magma. And I do banish from their graveyard, which is kind of a mistake. It's not that big of a deal, but now my Dark is offline, which might matter. Anyway, we're going to go for the Lubellion. We're going to go for the Regained here. We're going to then pitch with the Ravine to send the Absterrator. We're going to go Absterrator, activate its effect in order to grab up the Tracer. Then we're going to go to the Battle Phase. The reason I do this is because I don't really have a way to get much more. I grab the Tracer here, and I send the Absterrator. I didn't really have a better target. Like, I could have sent, like, Seifert, because that could have added back the Bestial Lubellion, which could have done something else. But, like, I still have Magnamut to search a card, so it's not really that big of a deal. So I'm just going to go Seal's Pass. This basically ends on Seal's Pass, but we do have Regained and Druis, as well as the Tracer in hand, and they are down to 3 cards. It's not insane, but it's okay, and they just immediately pass, by the way. I could have done maybe a little bit more with that hand, but we did get our... we did get called by Impermed as well, so there's that. Anyway, we're going to normal summon the Seifert, activate the effect of the Seifert, sending it to the graveyard, to the which my opponent will Gamma. Okay, that's a Gamma target. Not the one I would go for, especially if you know that I have the Druis Worm, as well as the Regained, which now gets me the Magnamut, which then gets me follow-up. As well as Seifert, just going into the grave is not great, because now, cool, now I have a Bestial Lubellion. I'm going to shuffle back a card, we're going to grab up Saronir, fantastic. We're going to pitch to the graveyard and grab up a second Saronir. I only have the Saronirs at this point. Anyway, we're going to send the Saronir to send a Seifert, to then send another Lubellion, and now we can activate the Saronir. I'm going to banish the Striker Dragon, and out comes another guy. Here, we're going to go for the Druis Worm here. We're going to banish another guy in order to go for the Bestial Lubellion. And now why are we summoning this guy? To trigger Druis Worm. Druis Worm is going to send it to the graveyard and get Nibiru'd. Okay. Now, to be fair, I did have lethal on board, so makes sense. Anyway, not really that big of a deal, because guess what? Now we get to go Seifert. I go Seifert here because it just makes the most amount of sense. Because, yeah, Striker Dragon. Cool. Striker Dragon effect to add the Boot Sector launch, and then we can go and activate the Boot Sector launch. We can special summon out our Rocket Tracer, so we're going to do that. We're going to activate the Rocket Tracer as effect, and we're going to pop the Field Spell to grab up the, whatchamacallit. And out comes the Chaos Ruler. Chaos Ruler effect, we're going to mill a whole bunch of cards. Collapse Serpent, there he is. You'll love to see it. So we grab the Collapse Serpent, banish Seals, and then we're going to go and pop our Striker Dragon because we haven't activated that effect. Grab up the Recharger. Recharger effect will then target another card in the graveyard. I believe we target the, we grab back the Tracer, and we're going to go for a Borreload Savage Dragon. I didn't really have another way to get anything else into rotation. I believe we banished the Caliber. If that was engraved, that would have been a lot better. But not really that big of a deal. We do also get to go for the Collapse Serpent since we shuffled back with our Chaos Space. But at this point, again, we have lethal because we get to now special summon the Wyvern Burster. So, yep, cool, good game. Yeah, Dragon Link. Nibiru. Doesn't matter. Good game. Alright, we're back with the deck, and honestly, Dragon Link still does Dragon Link things. It plays through hand traps insanely well, and it has a lot of gas. Even in a 40 card list, that doesn't really change. The only downside, I would say, to a 40 card list as opposed to a 60 is that oftentimes you're not ending on nearly as powerful of boards, but you're a lot more consistent. And more specifically, you're able to see things like Gamma a lot more often, which is very nice. I do like having Gamma access, especially with how often people are just going to fire off Max C just willy-nilly. And so being able to have more outs more consistently is very, very nice. That means you're not losing as many games to Max C. We're playing basically all of the outs to that card in particular. Gamma, Ash Blossom, Called By, Cross Out, and even a single triple attack is also in here. So that's pretty good. And honestly, it mattered. It mattered a lot. It's very nice, very helpful. As for the rest of the list, it's pretty clean. There are a few things that I'm not that big of a fan of. Only playing one a piece of the Wyverburster and Collapse Serpent. I think I'd rather trade out a Tracer for either a Wyverburster or Collapse Serpent. Probably Wyverburster. That's like the biggest thing. Also, not playing Imperm feels a little weird. There isn't really another card I would rather switch out. It's just kind of sad not having it. And Dragon Link is one of the few decks that very easily could play just one or two more cards. So like 2 Imperm wouldn't really be that big of a deal. But yeah, other than that, I think that this is a very clean list. I love the extra deck. Having Baron access was so nice. There were so many times where it came up. Just being able to go and like have that negate, or more specifically, have an extra 10 to go into was very, very nice. Dispotter most of the time is what you're going to be going into, but yeah, having that extra one is nice. As you saw in that last game, there were like 3 10s that I could make. Was it the last game? I don't know. One of those games, there was several 10s that I could make. So there's that. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.